morning, my people. It's a new week and the month of love, February. Welcome to Ways Breakfast, hashtag what are you saying? I'm glad to be starting off this new month with you, my impeccable viewers. On this show, we give you the best conversations that shape our future. From politics to governance, everything health, we discuss technology, finance, and of course, trending issues are not left out. Sitting queenly on this chair is I, Okikiola Taiwo Jalukmo, your anchor for today. And I'm excited to share this table with my incredible co-anchors, God's Beauty Israel and Oluchi Precious Omenka. Good morning, guys.
Good morning,
people.
How are you? What was this one?
This vibe this morning, I'm wondering.
Wahala.
So we're coming on, with all the love,
Soft,
and energy.
warm, like a fluffy doll.
Exactly. I like that description.
How's your weekend? Looking at February started like off on your weekend.
Yeah.
February 1st was like the weekend. How did you enjoy the weekend, or what did you do differently this weekend?
My weekend was very eventful. And I'm not even gonna kid you guys, it was so eventful. I stepped out of my comfort zone because I was stretched beyond limits, but it was a productive one. And I was able to put to practice some of because before the weekend, during the week, I had a lot of trainings, online classes, some physical trainings as regards my skills and crafts. So for the weekend, I had the opportunity to now display and practice everything that I learned, and it was so eventful. I had interviews with big guys in the industry. It was a tech event I went for, and I enjoyed every part of it. The only part I did not enjoy was that I was stressed. Like, I literally saw eye bags. Thank God makeup artists that I use had to give me some shit mask and all, and I'm here looking all rejuvenated. But guys, it was good. And again, under highlights, I ate a lot this weekend. Hey, my calorie intake should have gone up right now, and
But you already said you want to add weight, so
no,
don't you
it
think-
was uncontrollable.
Okay.
I was just eating.
Everything
glad to be
table.
here,
What
yeah.
about you, God's Beauty? What happened differently this weekend?
Nothing much because it's more like the regular. I mean, I did self-care, so I took care of myself. I rested. I mean, literally rested. Think about the future. Where are we going to? What is it looking like? What skills are we to acquire? What are we supposed to leave? People we are supposed to tell to get out, all of those things. So yeah, it was more of self-reflection and self-care. I mean, it's important.
It's like it shoots on.
You know those
It's
kind of things
important.
when they said in December that if
for
I hope
you.
I'm not part of the people that you're going to cut off like this. When they say,
I like to be part. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, now, if I am not adding value to you, cut me off. If you're not adding value to me, I cut you off. It's simple. Yes, that's the energy.
Preach,
But it's a month of love, so I think we need to take it down a little bit. Let's not be too.
But I'm talking about love. It has to be from yourself.
No, I think this month we're not going to be so particular about just self-love.
But if you don't love yourself, how do you show love to other people?
Sometimes the only way you can also reflect on self-love is how much you're even giving to other people. Then you can now feel like, okay, I'm giving this person love, I'm giving this person time, I'm giving this person attention. Maybe I need some of it for myself, because you might think that you need to give in order to love. And then over time, you might just realize at some point that you also need to give yourself. It doesn't mean that you lack self-love. It just means that you did not realize that you needed it also. You don't get what I mean? You might feel like you're so full in love that you can give more. And at some point when you have some burnout or something, then you now realize that, okay, maybe I need some for myself too. This line of things that I do for people, I can do it for myself. So this month, we're going to be doing everything love. Nothing, we're going to be giving you point love. Yes, well, we'll go on a break right now, and we'll be taking our today in history. We have to give you that, because if we don't enlighten you, who will? Nobody. We do it here on Ways Breakfast. As I said, our phone lines are open. Please call us on 070-2500-7749 or 070-1424-2420. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, click that subscribe button now, like and share the link. We'll be right back.
is a season of love. In partnership with Yasin, Heartlines will be giving away 4 luxurious, beautiful gifts to 4 lucky women. So stay tuned to the show to find out how you can win these incredible, luxurious gifts. And yes, gentlemen, you can participate to win on behalf of your better half, because truly, love is in the air. So catch me live Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. on Heartlines.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back to the show. So what are your thoughts on this historical event? Especially with the fact that when I read that Murtala Mohammed created some states, and at that time we had 19 states. And now in Nigeria we have 36 states. That's minus the states that they have included from Oyo State to I think Ijebu State or something, and Ondo State and Ondo Town. It's almost like every 7 AK market days, there are going to be new states. But does this really promote diversity? Does it promote maybe togetherness? The fact that people are now starting to think that, okay, we should have our own state, we should have our own community, we should have this, we should have that. What's your thoughts on that?
Does it promote diversity? We're already diverse with the other states that we have. Do you get? So maybe in a way, but I don't see it as a very major factor to promote diversity, because we're already diverse in our unique way. I mean, we have multiple ethnic groups, multiple, tribal tongues and everything. So we're diverse, and I don't think creation of states is a way to further prove that. Do you get it? The ones that we have is just to focus on that and see how it can be more diverse and all. But I really don't see any need for it.
What about you guys, Beauty? Do you have something?
Okay, so I would say that, I mean, having to split a particular state into two and say, okay, this one is on its own and this one is on its own. I mean, if it is in a situation where they are coming out to say the reason why we are splitting this state is, for their local government, the local grassroots to be able to, exactly, to be attend to all the individuals in that particular state, that would have made sense. So I really don't know why exactly the mindset or the reason why they are, splitting states here and say, okay, this state is on their own and this particular state is on their own. But like I said, if they're coming up with that notion of, because we want to reach, every individual, want to be able to take care of them from the grassroots and all of those things, then it will make sense. But until we're able to get like their reason or the main focus why, they are always splitting states, I mean, then it doesn't make any sense to me, because like she said, if you're talking about the whole diversity thing, we're already diverse. How many states already? Even in that state, you still hear that there is one particular place and another one particular place that came together.
We are stifled. We leave this, this space or something, that we tend to thrive and tend to do well educationally, administratively, in whatever sector. We're always strong. And I think Nigerians are very confident people. We are very, very confident. We can be confident in rubbish. It's only Nigerians that I know that you might not really know everything, but just put me on to talk about it, and I will say it with all confidence and boldness. Have you watched some Vox Pop interview that Nigerians do and maybe some foreigners do.
Yeah.
Put a Nigerian on the mic and ask him something, whether or not he knows it, he wants to just say something. I love that confidence and boldness that Nigerians have. We're very ruthless people, ruthless.
Okay, what about you girls, sweetie?
When you made mention of that, the first thing that came to my head is bass both. I'm so sorry, but yeah.
So we are unique for bass both.
I'm sorry, but yeah, that's it. And I think other things is creativity, even for the kind of government that we have. I don't think we're supposed to be in the developing country in that sense. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, I think we are actually very creative beings.
Okay. Well, guys, this morning we're going to be highlighting top stories from our local news and, of course, the international news. God's Beauty is going to be taking us through the international news, and then we'll come back to something what we call in Yoruba tile tile. Yes.
All right, straight into the international newspaper. That's New York Times newspaper. Top right after that's the main headline. We have their trade war looms as Trump imposes round of tariff. Honestly speaking, I think Trump don't want to rest on this one. It came on. It's more like, you know, before you enter city, you already had like those agenda down that immediately I enter. I'm taking this one. I'm taking this one. I'm taking this one. Like, bro, sit down and relax. I don't understand. Nobody's dragging this train with you. All right. So, at the left column under the main headline, we have the Trump's record of foreign aid worsen crisis. Center beneath the main headline, we have Beyond Chaos or Freeze by Partisan Tuan. Bottom center, we have, with the football image, we have them marching back to Super Bowl with high-stepping bravura. Bottom left, in LA, the usual fire playbook wasn't enough. Bottom right, we have a close night, skating family gone in an instant. The headline I want to quickly touch on says Trump's recall of foreign aid worsen crisis. Trump decided to stop sending financial help, that's the foreign aid, to certain countries. This money was being used to provide food, medicine, and shelter to people in need, including refugees and those affected by war or famine. Now, many countries and communities rely on this aid to survive. While this support is removed, people could face hunger, lack of medical care, and worsening conditions. It also affects Americans' image globally, as helping struggling nations has been a key part of United States foreign policy. Without the aid, millions of vulnerable people could suffer, leading to humanitarian crisis. In places like refugee camps, where people have already lost their homes, things could get even worse. Some experts also warn that when aid is cut off, it can create instability, leading to more conflict and migration issues. And I feel like this is something that we touched on last week, if you remember, Okiki. Honestly speaking, even the newspapers, they are confused about why, why is Trump taking out all of this foreign aid that he's supposed to assist all of these countries? Honestly speaking, I don't know why he's doing this. I wish he would. I mean, it's okay to come out and say, oh, this is why we are doing this. You get, this is why we are taking out our foreign aid from this country. And it's not even in Nigeria, because we're complaining about the whole, how people with HIV are so many. And in fact, for them to, you know, bring in their drugs from, you know, from the Western down to these places, a lot of money. It's 3 times the amount they used to pay. And it's not even, again, it's not a Nigerian thing. Many countries are already complaining about it. I guess we should come out to tell us why exactly he's doing this, so that we understand, or is it that he's trying to, you know, reconstruct some things financially now with America, and, you know, he has to just lay off some things. I mean, we need to understand.
Would I like to throw that to the Trumparian to give us an answer why her Western,
how can you not have an answer?
Western president will be taking out?
I do not have an answer to that, honestly. We do not know the exact reason, or maybe it's not being put out very publicly for everybody to know why it's being done that way. But I'm very sure, like many policies that have been made, honestly.
This is not
the major headline reads, Dangote price slash. Marketers with imported fuel fear losses. Dealers say stiff competition forces Dangote refinery price slash to 890 naira per litre. Above that, receive frozen account. First Bank misrepresenting court ruling, says GHL. Electricity tariff hike looms as federal government plans to end subsidy. Why banks cannot lift order the freezing GHL's account, says First Bank. The other story says NCDC tightens airport surveillance at Uganda battles Ebola. As Uganda battles Ebola, I believe Ladoja has information on Bola Ige's murder. And that's all the story for the Punch. No, we don't have a lot of news here. Just the screaming headlines saying fear, fear, fear. And just a follow-up of what we heard last week. So last week it was about, you know, these private marketers dumping Dangote to import fuel outside because it was, I mean, appropriate and a bit affordable for them in that sense, owing to the fact that Dangote's own was increased. And now we're seeing another follow-up to that, that Dangote's petrol price is about to be reduced again. So it's almost like it's like this. It's always going to be like this.
It's almost like I said it last week, that this thing is going to happen, that they're going to be doing this back and forth thing.
But honestly, it's not going to be entirely their fault, because every price increase or reduction will be totally dependent on crude sales. Do you understand? So that's what really determines all these things. So it's not just us here, but how the crude sale goes generally. So let me read the full story that I found. It said the decision by the Dangote refinery to reduce the ex-depot price on Sunday came at a huge cost to many petroleum marketers. Marketers who spoke to some correspondents said the sudden price reduction by the Dangote refinery must have been occasioned by the recent warning that some traders were planning to resort to importation if the foreign PMS remains cheaper than the ex-depot prices of locally refined products. In a bold move to drive economic relief for Nigerians, Dangote refinery has reduced the ex-depot price of petrol, commonly petrol, from 950 to 890 naira, effective from Saturday. And let me tell you that this is going to be short-lived, because this reduction is more like a pressure reduction. I think any reduction that should happen should be based, well, I'm sure it's probably being done behind the books and everything, but it should be based on what's really obtainable. How much are you purchasing this thing? What's the crude sale, I mean, on foreign levels? Let's now compare this thing and have, like you said last week, something concrete, something that we can work with. Because if we're just using, oh, I don't want importers to, private marketers to import, let me reduce it. Then when it is reduced, the foreigners will say, okay, there's another reduced one for you. And we'll keep going back and forth. But I think at this point, that businessman should be the businessman. I'm setting a price based on this standard that is obtainable and that can work for us. So we don't have back and forth, because I know tomorrow again, there's another information will tell us Dangote has increased it again, and private marketers are looking to import.
Well, that's all we have this morning on today's newspaper. If you want to learn more, go to their pages, buy a paper, learn more about Nigeria and the things going on in our country. We'll go on a break right now, and when we return, we'll come back with the topic for today. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Today we are talking love for our country, Nigeria. Like, Nigeria is everything, and I am a very strong advocate for Nigeria. So today we're talking love for our country, Nigeria. As we celebrate our nation, Nigeria, we are reminded of the love and the pride that we share for our country. From the majestic mountains of the north to the beautiful beaches of the south, Nigeria is a land of diversity, rich culture, and resilient people. We are proud of our cultural heritage, our music, our art, and our literature. We're proud of our people who, despite the challenges we face, remain strong and resilient. We remain determined to build a better future for ourselves and our children. Well, joining me in the studio virtually is Mohammed Abdullahi, who is a public affairs analyst and a travel enthusiast, passionate Nigerian who has traveled to more than 23 states of the country and 18 countries so far, speaks and understands Yoruba and Hausa fluently and a bit of Igbo language. We also have with us virtually Mr. Nick Agule. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Mr. Nick is a chartered accountant, energy expert, and a public affairs analyst, and also an associate member, capital markets, and an academics of Nigeria. These are experts in their various fields, so you know it's premium. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Nick and Mr. Mohammed. Do we have you here? Good morning, Mr. Nick and Mr. Mohammed.
Yes, I am here. Thank you very much, and good morning.
Wonderful to have you this morning. So this conversation is a conversation that is very personal to me. And as a proud Nigerian, I can tell you that I wouldn't have wished to be born anywhere else. So it brings me to ask, what does it mean to you to be a Nigerian? And how do you show love for, our dear country, for the country Nigeria?
Starting with me?
Yes, Mr. Nick, you could start. Mr. Mohammed, you could start. It's a burst of energy, so I just want to hear you speak.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning, Nigerians. Always my pleasure. I think it's very important that as citizens we show love to our country in several ways. And if you allow me start this way, I remember reading from history that the 35th President of the United States, that is John F. Kennedy, mentioned in his inaugural address in 1961 that ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
For your country.
Unfortunately, it's the reverse is the case in this part of the world. Even though I don't want to heap the blame solely on citizens, but we have a larger chunk of responsibility to exhibit as citizens. And that, that love for country must come from, the root must begin from the family, you know, from our various homes. What do our parents or ourselves as kids, what is expected of us? You understand? We have lost that as a nation, seriously. And that is why we have what we have today as a country. So I think I must implore every one of us, people listening and watching, that it is not yet late. We should understand the fact that as citizens, yes, we tend to hold government responsible for virtually everything, but that's quite not true. As citizens, we contribute a lot to what is happening to our nation. How many of us travel on the road or perhaps walk on the road, eat something and throw the trash on the road? That's not love for country. How many of us deliberately insult people, deliberately, conjure abuses and insults? That's not love for country. How many of us deliberately on the timeline, if you go on to Twitter this morning, you see people fighting, I am Hausa, I'm Yoruba, I'm Igbo. Nobody wants to believe that they are Nigerian anymore. So that's not love for country. So it is important that at this juncture, as Nigerians, we see ourselves as one. We see ourselves as Nigerians first before we talk about our ethnicity. It's very, very important because like you read in my little brief, I've been across this country and I want to tell you that Nigeria is a very beautiful country, seriously, with very beautiful people. You understand? The fact that we've allowed the negativities to usurp, the positives is very unfortunate, but it's not yet late. We need to exhibit that character now to put our country first, to ensure that we have love for each other, to ensure that we have love for our country. And by so doing, you see that things will begin to change for the better.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. I'd like to ask Mr. Nick this question. I'll be directing it to you. We're talking about love for our country, and I cannot but remember a particular incident that happened sometime last year where a known celebrity came out and somehow painted the country in a bad light. There was a lot of back and forth with it, with some people agreeing to the fact that he didn't want to sugarcoat anything. This is what was really obtainable. And it seems like that's a natural trait with many Nigerians. You know, we're very quick to badmouth our country, to go on X, to go on social media, to say, oh, the country is this, the country is that, our leaders are not serious, there's no hope for us. And it's almost like, even though these things might be obvious, in quotes, but how do we really promote national unity and national pride? Because I believe that if something is yours and it is really spoilt, it becomes worse if you are the one telling people about how spoilt what you have is. And I think that's the major problem we have with many Nigerians today. There's no national unity. There's no national pride. We don't seem to be people that really want to uphold our country, want to identify as Nigerians. Maybe that's even birth what we have as the Japa syndrome today. Everybody wants to probably identify as someone else, maybe the bracket of African, but not Nigerian. So we want to promote national pride and unity. We want Nigerians to come out, even though we know things are still in the works, things are not as good as they are, but this is what we need to promote, national pride and unity. How do you think this can happen, Mr. Nick?
Can I add to that? Can I add to that?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would want to add to what she said, because I hear you when you say that saying certain things about the country in a bad way is somehow you not being patriotic. So I want to ask, is being patriotic mean I have to lie about the country? Because honestly speaking, I did not see anything wrong with what David did last year, right? They asked you a simple question and you just said, oh, this is what is going on in the country. So how is that me not being patriotic? I would want to get, I would want you to explain that, Mr. Nick. Is being patriotic, is showing love to the country mean that I now have to lie? I want to get that.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you in the studios and good morning to our viewers globally. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to weigh in with my thoughts on our love for our country, Nigeria. First of all, I'm a Nigerian. I'm a full-blooded Nigerian. My father and my mother are Nigerians. I was born in Nigeria, did all my studies in Nigeria. I love Nigeria. It's Africa's most populous nation. Actually, the most populous Black nation in the world. Nigeria is rich with natural resources and human resources and everything. Just like in the introduction said, we should be a great nation. We should be very proud of ourselves. And anywhere we appear, people will just envy us. But that aspiration we haven't gotten there yet. Now, talking about the love for country, I think those who try to blame Nigerians for the issues in the country, they may be right, but there are also another way to look at it. You see, the truth of the matter is that in any human society, the leadership determines the trajectory of that society. God did not, my own personal view is that God did not make humanity to look after itself. God made humanity to be led. So you will see that in any country where the leadership is competent, it has the interest of the people at heart, the place is doing well. And when leadership is not there, the place is not doing well. And we have examples to show. For instance, in Rwanda, Rwanda had bad leadership, and that leadership led them to turn against themselves. And they killed more than 500,000 of each other, right? The same Rwanda today, under a different leadership, has become the poster boy for Africa's development. And even Nigerians, as we speak today, there are many Nigerians who are on flights going to Rwanda. Some are already in Rwanda, doing one conference or the other, or doing one study, mostly government officials, spending our money going to Rwanda. I know that as a matter of fact. So you can see that a country that, experienced genocide, killing 500,000 of each other, has now become a place where people are going to. What is different? Rwandans are the same. What is different is leadership. And I think Nigerians have actually been very patient. You cannot generate this love for country when the country isn't doing anything for you, right? Like in Nigeria today, there is a lot of hardship. There are graduates who have left school, some nearly 5-10 years, they haven't got a meaningful job. Would you want them to love a country that can't give them anything, right? You can be kidnapped and the security are not bothered about your fate, right? Your family will have to raise a ransom. I'm sure we read a report that came out the other day. Was it 2 trillion naira or so that was computed as the ransoms that Nigerians paid to get their people out of captivity, right? So how will you love a country with who doesn't care for you? And the National Assembly of that country was making a law that if you go and pay ransom, that they will arrest you and try you and jail you. And yet the security aren't doing anything. You have farmers who have been driven away from their homes. They are into RDP camps, right? The infrastructure is bad. The roads, there are no rail, so Nigeria needs to do better, and leadership is at the heart of it. Look, I'm speaking to you now. I'm speaking to you from the United Kingdom. I'm in London where I'm speaking to you now. Here in the United Kingdom, right? Education is free all the way till the child is 18 years old. Healthcare is free. Primary, secondary, tertiary healthcare. The government supports people whose income is not high enough pays them tax credits, some are in social housing. Yeah, security is top notch. If I pick my phone now and I dial 999 and I say someone is knocking on my door and I don't understand the knock, look, within 2 minutes, police cars are going to flood this place. If it was something I could have demonstrated live on air, I could have done it, right? Infrastructure is there. Yes, the United Kingdom is a nation of 1,000 years. Nigeria is not there, but then we have nations like the popular Dubai we are going to. Dubai became independent 8 years after Nigeria became. We became independent in 1960. They became independent in fact, 11 years, but they became independent in 1971, right? So we have our mates that we started development with, like the likes of Brazil and all of that. They've gone far. Yeah, we have our natural resources. Our gas is there. We're flaring it. Our refineries are down. Nobody is bothering about them. We have steel plants that are down. Nobody's bothering about them. And when Nigerians now see that government officials are living large, whereas the rest of the nation is under ruins, pains, and as you can see, a lot of workers now, they're paying almost all of their monthly pay to transportation, right? And all of those things, look at what the situation with our currency. In spite of all this, you don't want the people to even complain. When they complain, then it's an issue, right? So you see, national cohesion, the love for country, have to be determined by what that country also is giving to you. John F. Kennedy that made that statement. Look, if you're an American today and you are kidnapped in Nigeria, the American government will come for you. Did they not come for the man who was kidnapped in Niger and brought to somewhere in northern Nigeria? They came and rescued him. That's why a country that, when a country goes out for you like that, there is the natural tendency that you too will go out for that country, right? But when a country is not going out for you at all, but the leaders are going out for themselves, flying private jet, enjoying, staying in, whereas you are not getting that piece of that national cake, then you know there's going to be a problem. You will try to generate love for country from people who have so much been dehumanized to that level. You try to generate love for their country in vain. That's just the truth.
Mr.
I can
Nick,
talk about the role of citizenship later. Maybe I will just give way now.
thank you very much, Mr. Nick. So we will go on a quick break right now. When we return, I'll allow you take more comments on this issue of Nigeria. Please stay with us, people. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. So Mr. Nick has sort of addressed Oluchi's question on how we can drive patriotism and national pride when it comes to addressing the issues of Nigeria, even in terms of the kind of things that Nigerians should say publicly and even in closed spaces. Well, we are having a bit of, why is Mr. Nick telling us that Nigeria has to do something for us before we can do something for them? And Mr. Mohammed is telling us that either way, we citizens of Nigeria has something to say. So I'm going to direct it straight to Oluchi so that she can direct that question to Mr. Mohammed right now.
All right, Mr. Nick, who responded just before we went on the break, I think you came at us and you came at the country rather to let us see that the country needs to do something for us to then show the love. And I understand that our country is definitely not where it ought to be. And this is not unique to us. It's prevalent with many countries you know, many third world countries. My question, based on what we're looking at today, is love for the country. Because in as much as we don't want to accept this, the problems that we have, we keep having different shades with different year, but as people, we still need to be patriotic. So I'd like to hear from Mr. Mohammed, your own contribution to the question I asked about how we can promote national pride and national unity, which obviously seems to have dwindled over time. And then we cannot dismiss what Mr. Nick has said before on how our country is not doing as it ought to even make us see that, pride and unity. And I'm sure he's referring to the corruption and lack of transparency that we have. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Thank you. I think, Mr. Nick, definitely we all as citizens have rights to demand better from the country and even the government. But I think, like you rightly mentioned, Mr. Nick, in my humble submission, is actually reversing the take of former President John F. Kennedy. Because like you rightly mentioned, what Mr. Nick was really narrating was, yes, Nigeria has not done so well for citizens, then citizens do not really have to love the country as well. I beg to disagree. And he made a mention of Rwanda, actually. I've been to Rwanda. Rwandan citizens are not the same, sir, like they used to be. In fact, it's a taboo for you to ask any Rwandese or Rwandan about his tribe or even religion. They don't speak about their tribe. Nobody identifies as Tutsis. Nobody identifies as Hutus anymore. They all identify as Rwanda. That's a change of mindset from the citizen. Yes, we understand that leadership is key. But again, citizens must, like the word must have a change of mindset to say, we are not doing this for the leaders. No, we are doing this for our country, our nation, Nigeria. Yes. Believe you me, I actually rarely vote because of my kind of work, seriously. And I am an apolitical person totally. I don't believe in any political party in Nigeria because I see them all as same. I don't believe in any leader in Nigeria because I see them all as same, seriously. But again, that does not stop me anywhere to identify as a Nigerian. Yes, we have our corruption issue, we have terrible leadership, we have people who have no conscience in areas of leadership and so on and so forth. But seriously, like I said, that does not stop me to identify as Nigerian. I'm always proud of Nigeria, and I'm always doing my own little bit in my little corner to contribute, if not now, but later, to the development and upliftment of Nigeria. And I believe this is the mindset that Nigerians should have. The fact that every leader in this country, none exonerated, is just looking towards getting into power, you know, to seize power, do what he or she likes, siphon funds, and so on and so forth. That shouldn't deter us. Because seriously, a people defeated, a mind defeated is a society defeated. I always believe that as Nigerians, we hold it as a matter of responsibility. For instance, these leaders that we are talking about, they are not aliens. They are not from anywhere else. They are Nigerians. You understand? And these leaders that we are talking about that have plunged us into this catastrophe as a country are very few in number compared to the number of Nigerians. They are less than 2 million or 3 million maximum. You know, so if majority of Nigerians will have the mindset to do good, I tell you, things will change. For instance, even these political leaders or even religious leaders that we talk about, what make them think, for instance, in the north here, I'm actually speaking from Kaduna now. I'm based in Lagos, but I'm here in Kaduna to do some things. I'm speaking from Kaduna. Now, you find people worshiping perhaps their leaders because they encourage them to go and siphon funds. Because, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you have like 200 people by your gate that you needed to feed. This is a citizenship-driven corruption. You understand? So we have to change our mindset as Nigerians to say, no, I am not looking for any political office holder to give me anything. I am not a bootlicker. Whatever I can earn with my sweat is enough for me and my family. So if you do wrong, I'm able to say you are doing wrong. Not that, you know, I'll be fanning or praise worshiping you to say you are doing good when I see that you are doing bad. And like I said, for instance, it is very important that as people, we differentiate right from wrong. We know that we are not only destroying our future and our country if we keep insulting our country. Because this is what most Nigerians do. Yeah, Nigeria, we curse Nigeria, we say Nigeria is a terrible place, we say blah, blah, blah. But for instance, even the UK that you're talking about, yes, education might be free to some extent, but it's not that free as well. What you spend to study nursing in UK is like 30 times or 50 times what you spend to study same nursing in Nigeria. So that is what Nigeria gives you to some extent. Even up to now that subsidy is removed from education to some extent, and so on and so forth. So we can't say Nigeria has not given us anything. I went to Kaduna Polytechnic, for instance. All through my 4-5 years, including my IT, I never paid more than 60,000-70,000 naira. Where do you get 4-year education for 70,000 naira? So these are some of the things that we need to put aside and we need to look to. Like I said, we must just embrace the fact that we are Nigerians. We are the most populous country in the black country in the world. Our country is so beautiful. Our country is so interesting. We have terrible leaders, yes, but as citizens, we are more than these leaders. We can continue to push for our country, and whether in the short, things will definitely change for the positives.
Mr. Mohammed, I would honestly say that you have swayed me away with your encouragement, because as I said in the beginning, that I am such a Nigerian that I would not have wished to be born anywhere else except Nigeria, because I see beauty everywhere, regardless of all the tons and things that are happening, the realities that we even face to work every morning. I complain every weekend when I resume work that my weekend was this, my weekend was that, this morning, traffic, this, that, but I'm still joyed to come here and still speak about Nigeria. And I can relate a lot to what Mr. Nick is saying. When you see the kind of opportunities that differs when you travel and when you're based here in Nigeria, it's almost like that jackpot thing is the next thing to do. It's almost like there's greener pasture somewhere. But how do we make sure that our own greens are even growing? And that's the idea behind this topic this morning, that what else do we think that we can do differently to promote the love for our country? The fact that we have seen everything gone bad. Let's just assume that everything has gone bad. But what do we do as citizens now, regardless of our government, our this, our that? And you made me learn something, Mr. Mohammed, when you said that there's something called citizen-driven corruption. I never knew anything about that. It almost felt like, okay, yes, now I can put a name to when people start texting you. Immediately you decide to run for office, people start texting you that this person has died, this one is out of school, this one is this one is that. So I want Mr. Nick first to quickly give me an insight of what he does, like his work and his profession. How does he use this to contribute to the development and growth of Nigeria? And then, Mr. Mohammed, I would like if you follow after on what your work and your profession is doing or can do to contribute to the development and growth of Nigeria. I'd like Mr. Nick to go first.
So, thank you very much for giving me the platform. Before I would talk about my own personal contribution to Nigeria as a nation of ours, I just want to say that I'm very happy that you have put this panel together. It's always very boring when two people on the panel are on the same side. They don't give the viewers the two different perspectives. So this is a very competent panel you have put together. Well done. And also what I want to say here is that both of us, myself and my co-panelist, Mr. Mohammed, we have one thing in common. And that which we have in common is the love for Nigeria. We both love Nigeria with a passion. And I will say more Nigerians than not love Nigerians with a passion. The question here is that how are we going to make Nigeria better than what it is now? Because we all have to agree that Nigeria should be better than what it is now, right? Because I don't know where you are in your studio, you may be using a generator, which is quite strange. A country that is blessed with so much resources, so much energy resources, gas, we're flaring it. We have petroleum products, the refineries are dead. We have sunshine, We have wind, we have water for generation of power, but we're not using all that. So the question is that why are you on a generator now when you should be on a public power supply that is there 24/7, as you have in Dubai and every other place? So that is where the issue is, right? And now let me give an analogy. Assuming you go to a school, right? The principal is a rogue, the teachers are rogues, they are not living up to their responsibility. Therefore, the students are truants, they are outside playing when they should be in class studying and all of that. I am saying to resolve that school, the leadership has to be changed so that you will not have a principal and teachers that will get these students into class so that they can now face their education. Mr. Mohammed is saying the children, in spite of the broken down leadership of that school, the children should find a way on their own to love their school, love their education, and decide that, okay, let us not be truant again. Let's come back into class so that our teachers will teach us, right? It's possible, but we're talking about likelihood. It is the likelihood that a school where discipline has broken down, the
Mr. Nick,
solution
can
will
you
come
hear
from
me?
the children. Yes.
I'm so sorry to interject you, but I really need us to narrow this thing down. And that's saying that everything that you have analyzed is correct to a fault. But now, and let's put it down to where your work and your profession has contributed to the growth and development of Nigeria or is going to. We're trying to look at things that maybe you are already doing or future forward investments or decisions that you want to make for Nigeria. That's what I really want to know when it comes to, you know, your ideology about Nigeria. What exactly is your work or your profession going to do or has done to contribute to development and growth of Nigeria?
So when John F. Kennedy made that famous statement that think about what you would do for your country and not what your country will do for you, he was referring to the civic duties of citizens. As citizens, we need to rise up to our civic duties because it is the citizens that determine the leadership that they get. In Nigeria, a lot of citizens have a party to the political process. They will not participate in the electoral process where leadership is recruited because they will tell you that the process is rigged. Whether I vote or I don't vote, the result is not going to change. And when leaders are in office, they don't participate in the governance process by hand-holding the leaders and working the 4 years with them. The Constitution, for instance, provides the citizens the powers to recall members of the National Assembly, recall members of state and local government legislature. How are we doing that? This is what John F. Kennedy was referring to, right? We now know that the executives are not delivering for us. The Constitution now says the legislature should put pressure on the executive to deliver. And if the legislature is not doing the job, we are expected to then bring them home and then send those who can do our bidding. So Nigerians, we have become docile. So we are not participating in the political process, and we have to participate in the political process. Otherwise, we're not going to get our leaders to deliver for us. Even here in the UK, citizens are putting pressure on their leaders every day. That is number one. So on my own personal side, of course, I'm a Nigerian. I have my voter's card. I vote. This last election, I was in my local government. I voted in my local government. I engaged in political education of people, just like I'm doing now. I'm not being paid for what I'm doing. What I'm doing now, I believe, is a contribution to our national development, right? To put my voice out there. I also run enterprises in Nigeria to recruit young people. As I speak here, I don't want to put my efforts in the open, but people who are close to me know that at the end of every month, about 100 people are going to depend on me to be able to pay them. So I believe that as citizens, we also have to be doing our own bit in our own little corners so that, you know, collectively, we can get the country going. But let me tell you, our efforts as individuals in Nigeria will really not count much if the leadership at all levels, federal, state, and local government, are not doing their bit.
Thank you
Because if
very
you don't
much.
have leadership doing their bit, it's going to
Thank
be
you very
really
much.
difficult.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nick. I need to quickly hear from Mr. Mohammed as we wrap up the show. We have a few minutes left. Mr. Mohammed, are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay. So do I take it again? I would like to quickly know what your work or your profession.
I got the question.
Thank you very much.
On my own part, one of the things I do is the fact that I believe so much in this country, seriously, even though I don't believe in its leadership, but I believe so much in the potential of the country. And while most people think jackpot is the solution, for me, I feel it is not. I will remain here. I have been to the UK that Mr. Nick is, at least I've been there 3 times or more in the past 5-6 years. But I believe, no, even though I'm not saying I'm enjoying here at all. I understand we have terrible infrastructure. I understand we have terrible leadership, but I still believe in this country. I believe I would rather stay back as a Nigerian because the Americans stood back in America to develop their country. The Britons, they stood back in UK to develop their country. So if I run away like everyone is running away, finding the opportunity to run away with their families, who will now develop Nigeria? So I believe one of the things I'm contributing, it might be very minute, is that I'm staying back, I'm toiling here, paying my taxes, contributing to the little development of the country in my own little way. And like he rightly mentioned also, for us on this platform, that we are sharing our ideas, our experience, is also part of the development. It's also part of the contribution. I am also a writer. I talk very well on media, several media platforms, both national and international. So there are some of the areas where I'm contributing, and I teach as well, you know, because I really believe in the potential of this country. I believe that whether it is in the long run or in the short run, things will definitely change for the better if the citizens' mindset have a shift from saying, because our government is terrible, we have to be terrible. You know, because those who are leading us are bad, then automatically as citizens, we have to be bad. No. Yes, 2 wrongs doesn't make it right. If the leaders are terrible, let the citizens be good. And if the majority of the citizens are good, I tell you, it will influence the leadership to become good gradually. Because it is the same citizens that will be elected into position of leadership in the nearest future. So if you are good, it becomes good. In fact, I said I was apolitical earlier, yes, but I love the statement of Peter Obi recently when he said he will not be in a merger. He will not be in a merger just to grab power. That is a very fantastic statement. That, okay, because government is doing terribly, I want to become part of government. I will just join any merger just to grab power without putting in place plans to develop the country. So if we have this kind of mindset to say, no, I don't just want to become a leader. I don't just want to become a governor or a president or a senator just because they should say I'm a senator or whatsoever. No, I want to be there because I want to have meaningful contribution. And mind you, not all of us as citizens will gain power. It's not possible. 200 million people. How many people will become senators? How many people will become leaders? It's not possible. So majority of us will remain citizens. Will remain citizens in our private life or public life. But what is important is in your little corner, whether you're at home, just do good. Do your little best. Keep your street clean. You know, don't eschew bigotry. You know, don't eschew ethnicity. Put Nigeria first, and I bet you, if not in this our own generation, in generations to come, Nigeria will become better.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Mr. Mohammed, I would say a few things that I have learned from Mr. Nick and Mr. Mohammed, and that's the first thing that I would say. That number one, like Mr. Nick said, that voting is a form of love for country, making sure that you come to Nigeria, you vote when there are elections, voting for the right person. He also said about business, you know, starting up businesses where you can employ people and you pay people to continue their livelihood. It's also some form of, you know, patriotism. Mr. Mohammed mentioned that, you know, teaching, staying in Nigeria to make sure that Nigeria works is also some form of patriotism and showing love for country. So while both of you have given like diverse views on these things, I've learned so many things from both of you. We need to wrap up the show right now. I need to say thank you to both of you for coming on this show and enlightening us about the things that you do differently to bless Nigeria in your own little way and some of the things that we need to do better moving forward. I always believe that there's one Nigeria, one love, and that's the spirit that unites us all. So let us always show our love for Nigeria, not just today, but every day. Thank you to our guests. And of course, my co-anchors for their insightful contributions. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us on this important discussion. Do ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most especially, follow us on all our social media platforms. See you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.